tremeur sur tes saules.
What is up, peoples? Video tag. I got tagged by Andrew Ballina, my good buddy Andrew, to do this questionnaire. I had seen a bunch of videos with the header, video tag or whatever, and I had no idea what was going on. Checked out Andrew's video. Good thing I did. Well, it's not really surprising I've watched all his videos, but turns out it's a questionnaire, and it's kind of went viral right now. So there is 20 questions, and basically what we're asked to do is add another question on after we've done the 20 questions, and then tag some more people to continue the process. So might as well get right into it. My lovely wife Erin here is going to read off the questions to me. I am going to cheat and have to look at some of my answers because I have a really bad memory. But anyways, let's go.
So what's your favorite movie of all time?
This was a question that I did struggle with. Not struggle, but I came to the conclusion that I have to pick a duel because horror is obviously my favorite genre. And I do love other types of films too. So my favorite horror film of all time is Dawn of the Dead, which most people do know. And my favorite other type of film is The Goonies. Just like Andrew Ballina, his favorite film was The Goonies. It's definitely one thing that we have in common. I love that film to death. Yeah. So.
All right, the favorite scene from that movie.
My favorite scene from The Goonies, for some odd reason, happens to be the scene where Corey Feldman is in the well, and he picks up the quarter, and he says something on the lines of his dream didn't come true, and he's taking it back. I don't know what it is about that scene, but I always thought that it's just very memorable to me. Obviously, the whole movie's very memorable. There's awesome scenes, probably better scenes than that one, but that one just always kind of stuck in my mind. My favorite scene in Dawn of the Dead is probably when the bikers break into the mall. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because all hell kind of fucking breaks loose in the film, and I just always like that. It's crazy.
All right, favorite actors and actresses.
My favorite actors and actresses. I'm gonna have to go with Philip Seymour Hoffman. Absolutely love the dude. I think he has played so many different types of roles in his career, and he hits it out of the ballpark every single time with every role he does. Synecdoche, New York. If you've ever seen that film, or however it's pronounced, it is like one of the most bizarre films I've ever seen in my life, but his performance is like so top shelf. It's just amazing. Vincent Price, one of my favorite horror actors. I absolutely love everything he's done. I think his on-screen presence is just phenomenal. Robert De Niro, I mean, really, maybe it's a little cliche to say Robert De Niro, but I mean, really, it's Robert De Niro. He's amazing in lots of stuff. Paul Giamatti is another one that I absolutely adore. I think he's fucking phenomenal. He's just so good in everything he does. To actresses, Danielle Harris, horror actress, I love her. Scarlett Johansson is another one that I fucking love. Jennifer Connelly is another one that I absolutely love too. And I did forget Al Pacino. Gotta go with Al Pacino too. Phenomenal.
Alright, most annoying actors and actresses.
The most annoying actress to me is Sandra Bullock. I absolutely can't stand her. I think she's just terrible. My most annoying actor is most definitely Owen Wilson. I've talked about this before. I can't stand him. I think he's like the least funny guy ever that appears in like tons of comedies. It's just ridiculous.
Your favorite directors?
Favorite directors. My favorite director of all time is Alfred Hitchcock. I mean, it's just the films that he did were just everything was just brilliant. Brilliant. This was a tough question for me. I ended up listing like 20, pretty much. So I'll go through the list here. I recently did a video showing off my Lucio Fulci collection. Him being my second favorite actor. Dario Argento, Martin Scorsese, Quentin Tarantino, David Cronenberg, David Lynch, Clint Eastwood. I love Eastwood as an actor a lot, and I love his films that he directs are just brilliant too. John Hughes. I mean, really, as a writer, amazing. John Hughes directed some really awesome films. George Romero, Guy Ritchie, Kevin Smith, Mario Bava, Stanley Kubrick, and these are not in any type of order, if you're wondering why Kubrick is like towards the end here, and the Coens brothers. I absolutely love these type of... The Coens brothers, everything they've done is just beyond brilliant to me.
Guilty pleasures.
Guilty pleasures is a funny question. I always love when people list their guilty pleasures. Guilty pleasures for films, I gotta say Woody Allen films. I know I've stated this before and people kind of laughed at me, but for some weird reason, I love the quirkiness of the writing. He's just a fucking weird dude, and like, I find him very entertaining. Melrose Place, the TV show, yes. I was a huge fan. We ripped through like all 7 seasons in like, what, a month and a half or something? I don't know. 90210, the original series. Love that series, just, yeah. And Degrassi, Junior High and High, like the original series from the 80s. Could watch those all the time, they're fantastic.
Your favorite tearjerker?
This was a tough question for me, actually, because I don't really like a lot of these types of movies, but the first thing that came to my mind was Trains, Planes, and Automobiles. Now you're thinking to yourself, it's not really a tearjerker, but for some weird reason, it's just the end of that movie when, Steve Martin, kind of accepts and brings in John Candy into his house. Does it to me every time. It's just, I think it's also the fact that John Candy is, obviously passed away now, and he's very missed to me. And then we were going through this before, and Aaron mentioned to me Boys in the Hood. I'm like, fuck, how did I forget that? That movie kills me every single time I watch it. I can't help myself.
A character from a movie that scared you the most?
Yes. Character. This might be a little bit of a surprise because neither one of my choices are from a horror film, but honestly, the first thing that came to my mind was Glenn Close from Fatal Attraction. Is she not the most psychotic bitch in the history of... This is the reason why you do not cheat on your wife. For one thing. This is what you don't... Yeah. And then Jaws from the Bond films. It's not himself per se. It's more about his actual teeth, his jaws. That shit just freaked me out, man. Him biting through steel and shit just freaked me out. I don't know.
Movie you love but everyone hates?
I'm going to catch a lot of heat for this. A lot of heat for this. I know I am. But a film that I love, that everyone hates. Well, maybe not so much flack, but I love the Halloween remake. Not as much as the original one, but I mean, this was a hard question because I don't really know what everyone else hates. But I went with the Halloween remake because it does catch a lot of shit, and it's so hit and miss with people, but I personally love the film. I think it's fantastic.
Movie that you hate but everyone loves?
Yeah, this is the one that's probably going to catch me a lot of shit. Movies that I hate that everyone loves. I am sorry, right off the bat, Andrew, if you're watching this, but I can't stand E.T. Even as a kid, I couldn't stand the film, and watch it later on in life does nothing for me at all. Another film I absolutely can't. I don't hate this film. I just don't like it as much as other people. It's Saving Private Ryan. I think it's the most overrated war film ever made. It doesn't come close, in my opinion, to Apocalypse Now. And even Hamburger Hill, I find, is a better war film. Another film that I find that everyone loves, and I try to go with a comedy with this one, is The Wedding Crashers. I fucking hate this film. It had a great idea, but the problem is with the film is that they cast 2 unfunny people, being Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson. And the other fact is that the writing in the film was bullshit. You know, they took a great idea, they did nothing with the idea, made a big montage of them crashing video or weddings, and it turned into a fucking love story. Terrible.
Favorite movie duo?
My favorite movie duo is Jay and Silent Bob. I mean, I love the two together. I think that Kevin Smith's brilliant.
Favorite animated films?
Favorite animated films? I gotta go with Heavy Metal. Absolutely love that film. It's classic. What can I say? The South Park film. I'm not really a big animation fan, but I do love South Park, the TV series and the movie. And one of my favorite kids ones has got to be Monster Incorporated. Aaron actually mentioned that to me, and I was like, oh yeah, I do actually really like that film. I think it's pretty cool.
Actor, actress you have a crush on?
Actor that I have a crush on. This is a running joke with my friend Keel. Yeah, I always say that I love George Clooney. You gotta have to know me a little more to understand that joke. But favorite actresses, Scarlett Johansson. That I have a crush on. I fucking think she's so beautiful. Danielle Harris, obviously. Another one. And Jennifer Connelly. I grew up, I'm a really, really huge fan of The Labyrinth. And, she's just absolutely amazing to me.
Favorite movie villain?
My favorite movie villain, didn't even think twice about this, Freddy, hands down.
Movie that surprised you?
A movie that surprised me. I remember going to the theater and watching this film. And, before I went in, I was like, you know what? I know I'm going to be disappointed by the end of this film. And that was it. I had my mind set. After I got out of the theater, I was like, fuck, the movie was pretty good. And it was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. I expected to hate this film because, remaking the Texas Chainsaw Massacre to me was kind of a fucking joke to me. I was like, how can you remake a movie that is just defines classic? But I was pleasantly surprised at how much I loved the film. Maybe it had something to do with how sexy Jessica Biel was in the film. No. I honestly don't know. I really enjoyed it. What else did I have in there? Oh, yeah. I'm actually going to show this one because I don't know if a lot of people actually know about this film. But Pretty Persuasion. This is a film starring Evan Rachel Wood, Ron Livingston, and James Woods. This is a really, really fucked up dark comedy film that is just... I expected to absolutely hate this film. I put off watching this for so long. I gave it a shot and absolutely loved it. This shit is fucked up. And I brought this one out too, the Bourne trilogy, because I remember watching the trailer back in the day and I was like, I have no interest in that at all. Watched the first one and loved it with a passion. Had to watch the other ones. I love this trilogy. It's great. Just surprised me.
Who is your least favorite director?
My least favorite director, oh my god, I'm going to get bitch slapped virally on this one. But if you didn't notice before by a couple films that I didn't like, yeah, one of my least favorite directors is Steven Spielberg. I know. I am so sorry, Andrew. I know you love him. He was like your favorite one, but the thing about Spielberg is that I don't hate Spielberg. He is definitely one of my least favorite, most popular directors out there. I do like some of the films. I do like Schindler's List. It was good for one watch. It's not a film I could ever watch again, But I don't know. I'm not a huge Spielberg fan.
What is your favorite book turned movie?
Now this was a tough one to me. I generally only read either thriller or horror books and stuff like that. So the first one that came to mind was Stephen King's The Shining. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what the fuck? The book is so different than the movie. That's precisely what I loved about it. The book is so different from the movie. Love this one though. I think it's great. This is the very first novel I ever read in my life. Pet Sematary. I think the movie to the book was fantastic. Misery. Now the movie is awesome. Kathy Bates did a great job. James Caan did a great job in the film. But now the book, I wish they had adapted the book, put all the more violent scenes and stuff. In the book, she cuts off his thumb and uses it as a birthday candle in the book. It's not in the film. That sucks. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. another great adaptation. In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. I love this book. I love the movie. And pretty much anything by Edgar Allan Poe. I fucking love Poe. I could read this shit all the time. Yeah, Poe is so far ahead of his time, it's ridiculous. Like, it's just mind-boggling, the shit that he was writing back in the day.
What is a movie that has changed or has had a significant impact on your life?
This was an easy question for me. Stand By Me. My dad took me to see Stand By Me when it came out in theaters back in 1985, and that really just changed my perspective of movies. I mean, I was 5 years old. I obviously was very naive to films and stuff, but that shit stuck in my mind, and I loved films. I loved the narration of that film, and it just, yeah, that did it for me. Also, Fright Night, same year, 1985. First horror movie that I really remember watching and absolutely scared the fucking living shit out of me, but, you know, it changed my perspective. Just, yeah, it did. And Dawn of the Dead. When I first watched Dawn of the Dead, I was like, yeah, I absolutely love film. It just worked for me.
Favorite movie quote of all time?
This is something I used to say all the time back in the day, and it comes from Stand By Me, and it's said by Corey Feldman in the film. I'll rip off your head and shit down your neck. When he's talking to the junkyard keeper, what the fuck was his name? I can't remember in the film. But yeah, when he's all freaking out and he says that line, always remembered it. Love that quote.
A movie you've grown to love?
I'm a really, really big fan of the first three Lethal Weapons films. And when I first watched the fourth one, I was like, fuck. What the hell, man? Watched it a couple more times. I absolutely love it, though. I think it's great. I think Chris Rock actually adds a great comedic level to the film. It's fantastic.
When you're adding.
Oh, yeah, and then, yeah, so that was the end of the questionnaire. The question that I added onto here was an actor that most people don't like that you love. Personally, yourself. I put this question in here because I was kind of looking at my films and stuff, and I was thinking about a film called Pump Up the Volume back in the day. The film has a significant thing to me because, you know, it's about a guy that does this, like, anonymous radio show. I do radio myself, and that person that was doing that was Christian Slater. I find a lot of people fucking hate the guy. I personally love him for some odd reason. I don't know. I mean, not in a gay way or anything, but I do. I enjoy his stuff. So yeah, that's my question. An actor that most people don't like that you love. I'll leave the question down below. So the people that I'm tagging, I probably should have done this before because I can't imagine everyone sitting through this entire video. Fuck. But I am going to tag one RX Miss, one also known as James. I'd like to hear his answers. DJ Boy 3275, also known as Danny, is my good buddy from the Fright Tube. Too Cool Tim, yeah, also from the Fright Tube. And Spalding 069, also known as Vance. Everybody knows Vance. He's a YouTube legend. Amazing. But I'd like to hear the answers from these cats. So that is the video. Thank you for watching, and thanks for my lovely wife, Erin, for reading out the questions and helping out in the video. Peace out, homies.